Hi, I'm Rob, and in this Gems of War video, I'm going to tell you what's good and bad in the Soulforge. Going to show you a really cool no mythic invasion team. What's a good team to use for the Underspire? And first of all, we'll take a look at this weekly event troop, this Sekite Priestess. Let's take a little look at her, see what she does. Deals magic-based scatter damage boosted by red and skull gems and burn a random enemy. Nothing spectacular about that. That's not much damage. Does gain bonus red from red gem matches and 1 magic when an ally casts a spell. Yeah, nothing too special about that. I mean, the burn a random enemy can be decent in certain teams if you need it for whatever reason, but it's a low amount of damage. Yeah, it's not very good. 4 out of 10 for you, Mrs. Golden Plate Boob Things. Oh my goodness. Hope it doesn't go down that route. Anyway, I was at a friend's funeral lately, and his wife, it was a very sad affair. His wife asked me to say something. So I got up and I said, plethora. She said, thanks. That means a lot. Do you see? Anyway, get us to mythic level, Miss Golden Titties, if you can. And always another troop to add to your collection, even if you don't end up using her very much. Right, so, yeah, all good. Right, so what am I doing? Going to games, going to Soulforge and take a look at what's in there. I'm going to start off with the weapons, and then we'll move on to the mythics. But first up, this weapon here, this is going to be the one that is in the invasion shop. So don't get it from here. Save your diamonds and get it from the shop instead with gems. Gems are much easier in the game to come across than diamonds. So get it from the shop and you get other stuff there at the same time. And you get to save all these juicy resources at the same time. But yeah, it does give magic +1 attack and life to all monster allies. So an all monster team is required to make the most out of that. Then bless them, which is like a super cleanse. You get cleansed and made basically impervious, so not too bad in certain circumstances. Withering Touch, steal magic-based life from the first enemy and drain all mana from them. Do you like stuff that drains mana? You get to control what the enemy does to a certain degree. Keeps them just like unable to cast spells and things like that, so it can be useful. And stealing life is useful as well. That's effectively true damage, but you take it from them and give it to yourself. So pretty decent, not bad at all. I'm not going to go over all these ones that are here all the time. They're in my Soulforge extra video. Stuff like Shattered Blade, Broken Guard, etc. Bone Shield is here though. Deal magic-based damage to an enemy boosted by Ketar allies. Then create a mix of 6 purple and brown gems for each Ketar ally. So uses blue and red, creates loads of purple and brown. So make sure those Ketar allies, at least a couple of them, use purple or brown or both, because otherwise you're going to make all that mana for nothing, and that is not the point. So yes, make sure you do that. What is next? We have Doomed Tome. Deal magic-based scatter damage with a +4 per tempering level boost. Then create a mix of 6 blue gems and skulls for every blue enemy. Give 3 magic to all allies. If the enemy has a doom, give 5 more. Not too worried about that last bit. If the enemy has a doom, it doesn't happen very often, apart from when this thing first comes along in the event or whatever. But against an all-blue team, these kind of doomed weapons can be absolutely devastating. Creating the maximum amount of blue gems and skulls, really good on defensive teams as well, like on the PvP when the AI has to control it as your defense team against an all-blue team, because on a blue restricted game, for example, where you know they're all blue, you know that you can actually maximize the use out of this sort of weapon, even if it's controlled by the AI. So yeah, very, very good indeed, those kind of things. Do like them a lot. Dead Gauntlet. Deal magic-based damage to an enemy boosted by undead allies. Then create a mix of 6 blue and purple gems for each undead ally. Similar kind of thing. This is the boosted. You get a damage to an enemy boosted by undead allies. So in an all undead team, you're going to get the maximum amount of blue and purple. But again, like the other weapon, this uses red and brown, creates blue and purple. So make sure your undead allies, at least a couple of them, use blue and or purple. Do you see? Doomed Helm. Sounds jolly painful. Anyway, gives magic +1 life to all allies with a +2 per tempering level boost. So low amount of damage, as standard, decent amount of damage, fully tempered up. Then give 5 mana to all other allies. If the enemy has a doom, give 4 mana, give 2 magic to all allies for each red enemy. So quite a lot to digest from that to make sure you get the most out of it. It's best against all red enemies. If the enemy has a doom, you get more mana. The mana that you give when you cast it goes to all other allies, not yourself. And you need it obviously tempered up to get the most out of the life. But they're still not my favourite weapons, these ones. I do like the damaging doomed weapons, are a lot better. Scythe of Kitar, kind of the anti-Kitar weapon in a way. Very cheap to craft, just 75 diamonds. But remove all purple gems. Purple gems are the colour that Kitar people like the most. People, whatever. Then deal magic-based damage to an enemy boosted by gems removed. If the enemy is from Kitar, or if the battle is in Kitar, deal double damage. So, again, the sort of thing you look at it and think, well, I'm not really going to use that. But it's certainly worth picking up because it's very cheap to craft. And when you reach a certain point in the game, where you've got a certain amount of weapons from certain kingdoms leveled up, you get to progress your power levels and things like that. So certainly worth getting. Next up we have Scarab Blade. Explode magic +1 purple gems. Grant a random status effect to all undead allies. Then summon a undead troop. So a nice explodey summoning weapon there. Do like them, always worth picking up. We've got good old Wonder Stars, but I say it every single week. Basically, if you've got the resources, make sure you craft it. But don't craft it at the expense of anything else that's absolutely essential from here, because that essential weapon will be gone next week and you won't be able to get it anymore. Where Wonder Stars is here on a weekly basis. But certainly Wonder Stars, absolutely the best weapon in the game. Craft it as soon as you can. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Create 6 elemental stars, bless all allies, or create 7 umbral stars and curse all enemies. Absolutely amazing mana generator and fantastic to get a cleanse and a bless or a curse, whatever you prefer in the given situation. And next up we have Tomb Lord's Crook, another explodey summoning weapon. Explode magic +1 purple gems, grant a random status effect to all Kitar allies, then summon a Kitar troop. So very nice. These things give mana gen, they give status effects, they give summons. Absolutely awesome stuff. Love those weapons. Alright, have we got any more? We have a stone cutter and a bone cutter. Intriguing. Another explodey summoning weapon. Explode magic +1 brown gems this time. Grant a random status effect to all monster allies, then summon a monster troop. Sometimes you got to look at these similar kind of weapons and see what their upgrades are to see which one is best in the current situation in your team. This one explodes magic +1 blue gems. Grants a random status effect to all Kitar allies, then summons a Kitar troop. So it's explodey summoning weapon ahoy here today. Right now, onto the troops. Same as ever, take a look at these summoning stones, especially if you're a newer player. See if there's anybody there that takes your fancy. You're particularly looking for empowered troops, the ones that start with full mana. You're looking for goblins. All goblins are pretty handy. Some are better than others though. This guy's nothing too spectacular. A little bit of mana gen with a extra turn. Other stuff like this is a better goblin, a priest of Nilbog. Doesn't actually give mana gen though, that's the only sort of weak thing about it. But it does give life to all allies and barrier all goblin allies with the extra turn that goblins always get. So in an all goblin team, that's actually pretty good for life gain and getting the barrier. But yeah, it does get the extra turn as well. But I do like the goblins that basically destroy or explode gems at the same time. They keep the loop going, which is really, really cool. Is anybody too essential in there? Not really. Yeah, let's have a little look through, especially if you're a newer player. And it's a good way of picking up some new troops at the same time. I remember using these quite a lot in the early days to pick up some extra troops. Right, let's take a look at the mythics now and see what dragon is on rotation. And dragon on rotation is Lunarelion. So this one is the one where you can spend extra dragonite, in this case 2,000 in total, to guarantee you get this dragon. Now this is a cosmic dragon. You can tell the difference between the cosmic, flower and the gem dragons by the name. The clue is literally in the title of each one. Lunarelion suggests space and cosmic stuff, and therefore that's related towards Stellaryx. So this is the one you need to craft Stellaryx. The last one, say you've got 5 of the others, this is the only one you're missing. I would definitely suggest this is worth the extra dragonite. It stops all that duplicate frustration. Really, really cool, but you could get lucky as well and open another egg and get it. But it's like rolling a 6-sided dice and needing a 6. Sometimes you can do it for ages and it'll take a long time for that 6 to come up, and it'll feel really unfair. Then the difference with this is you're having to spend all that Dragonite, and it takes ages to get Dragonite to have another roll of the dice, where 2000 can absolutely guarantee it. So players a choice on that, but I know I would rather guarantee it myself, but again, each to their own. Right, so first mythic is Manticorus. Deal magic +3 true damage to 3 random enemies and drain 8 mana from them. That is a set amount. If the enemy is poisoned, drain double the mana. So if they're poisoned, that's 16 mana drained from those opponents. And you can get the poison really, really easy from its Venom of Anu. Poison a random enemy when matching blue gems. It uses blue, so when you're charging it up, if you want to get that poison going, which you should, then you collect blue as your main colour to charge this thing to make sure you get that poison, which gives double the mana drain. Pretty cool. It's also impervious, immune to all status effects, devour, lycanthropy and mana burn, and does summon an ice storm at the start of battle, again, which is blue, which works really well with its spell and the way it works. So not too bad, and it is true damage as well. Even if it's not your main true damage troop, because there are better true damage troops in the game, then this is still pretty good as a backup one to just help finish people off and things like that. And that mana drain can help you control battles at the same time regarding how often the enemy gets to cast a spell. So not brilliant, but not too bad either. Next up we have the Archduke. A funny one this, because it is rubbish at an early level in the game and brilliant at a later level in the game. Does damage to an enemy based on magic, and there's a percentage chance equal to his magic to destroy them. Kill them outright. If they die, summon a Lemur. So when that kill chance comes in, you're going to get a summon as well. And it gets better because gain 3 magic when my turn begins is actually pretty powerful as well, considering what the spell does. So even without any boosts, my magic is 44 in this. So after 2 turns, and generally it's going to take at least that to get it charged up, using 25 mana, I've already got a 50-50 chance of just killing somebody absolutely outright. And any game that goes beyond 2 turns is then in my favour. Severely in my favour to start getting those instant quick kills. So good if you're a high level player with a decent level of magic, but if you've got a low level of magic, then obviously it's really, really rubbish. Like really rubbish. So a bit of a weird one. So amazing at high level, totally rubbish at a low level. Who is next? We have Pharaoh. Does my bum look big in this? Nefertani. Yes. No, I didn't mean yes, your bum does look big in this. I meant just agreeing with my own hilarious joke. Anyway, deals damage to an enemy boosted by death-marked enemies and curse and disease all enemies. Another funny mythic, not because of the way she looks and the fact that she's looking at her bum and can't decide if it looks big in this, but it is either good or bad, entirely based on your luck. A lot of mythics, the best thing about them is their traits, and this is another one. The best thing about her is this Pharaoh's Curse. Death mark a random enemy when matching 4 or more gems. If you get some nice 4 matches at the beginning and the enemy isn't immune to death mark, if you get lucky, you can let people just die straight away. Just bang, you're dead. Don't matter what level they are, don't matter if you're level 1 and you got this. That is a really, really powerful third trait if you get lucky. If you get unlucky, in 2 different ways, don't get 4 matches or that death mark just refuses to come in, then she's going to be rubbish. Because the actual damage done is actually pretty rubbish. So yeah, luck-based mythic there. Amazing if you're lucky, rubbish if you're not. And yeah, it does gain necromancy as well. Gain 50% bonus souls from battle. Certainly handy at the newer stage or early stage of the game when you want to pick up those souls still. And 50% is an okay amount. Flame of Anu. Deal magic-based damage to the first 2 enemies boosted by burning and fairy-fired enemies. There's no getting away from it, considering what other troops do, like Gob Truffle, and especially quite like Queen Bee. That's rubbish. It's normal damage just to the first 2 enemies, and yeah, the boost is ×5, but yeah, it's nothing great. But obviously the spell is magnified a little bit because the flaming main burn and fairy fire a random enemy when matching 4 or more gems. You can get boosted on that because obviously fairy fire does give a 50% extra damage boost to afflicted enemies, but yeah, still not great. Not great at all to me. Don't like it. Don't like it. Was that it? Oh my goodness, have I got to pick one of them as the best? That's not very good, says it. Anyway, let's take a look at the legendaries quick then. Borealis, freeze all enemies, pretty useful against things like goblin teams and things that like to loop on you. Then deal magic based damage to the weakest enemy, and does do triple skull damage versus frozen enemies as well as ice armor, which makes it pretty tanky up top, reducing damage from skulls by 65%. So it's still pretty useful in the game, despite the fact it's been here like forever. Soul Zara, she's yeah, I'm not gonna, I was gonna thinking of some sort of dentist joke, but it's not happening. Anyway, deals damage to an enemy, gain 10 souls. If the enemy's life is greater, deal triple damage and gain triple souls, and gain 5 magic when an enemy dies, and gain 2 magic when she takes damage. So it has to be bashed to actually increase her power. King Bloodhammer, pretty useful troop this. You see it in Guild Wars battles quite a lot just because of the way it works. Can be really devastating if you get lucky, or unlucky, as in lucky as in the enemy that is. Deal damage to the 2 strongest enemies and transform all blue gems to doom skulls to boost the damage. So yeah, King Bloodhammer. You still see it in teams quite a bit. Who's the last one? There was one down here somewhere, wasn't there? That was it. Commander Dawnheart. really good troop this. Do like it a lot. Does damage to 4 random enemies boosted by his armor. So damage to 4 random enemies with a boost, and obviously there's plenty of troops in the game that actually boost the armor with your team or a individual ally, and in that case you can make him very damaging, and he gains 4 armor when matching yellow gems. So yeah, pretty cool. So who gets my mythic of the week out of this lovely lot? Crikey. Manticore's is pretty janky, but it's all right. There's better stuff out there. Like in this bunch here, it's actually quite good. The trouble with the Archduke is, as I said earlier, it's like rubbish if you're a newer player, pretty decent if you're a experienced player with a high level of magic. So not useful to everyone. Nefertari, luck-based mythic, small amount of damage, not great. But if you're lucky with that Pharaoh's Curse, can be absolutely devastating. And Flame of Anu, not that great all-round, full stop. So the best mythic here is Pharaoh Nefertari if you're feeling lucky. The Archduke if you're a high-level player. The all-round best mythic, bizarrely, and I never thought Manticorus would win this, is probably Manticorus. Dealing true damage to 3 random enemies. Can you use this as the backup true damage dealer? The mana drain is useful as well for controlling enemies and how often they get to cast and things like that. And it is impervious as well, and does get that poison automatically when you collect blue, and it does have an ice storm as well to help that out. So different mythics are the best one here based on your player level and if you feel lucky or not, but as an all-round mythic based on none of them things, Manticorus is just about alright-ish, but nothing amazing. So there it is. Now on to the Invasion team. Now with this team there's no 50% mana start for all our troops, so this is when it's a good idea to chuck in a Medal of Anu, so we get 20% mana on all our troops, which is not too bad. Makes it just a little bit faster. So 1 Medal of Anu if you can, and 2 times Medals of Nisha to boost up our damage. So having done that, we can pop into the Invasion event itself and take a look at the shop. For this, definitely buy up to tier 3 minimum. Tier 1, you get the Potion of Enchantment, really cool. Enchant all allies at the start of this battle. For this event only, really good. 2 mana each turn, happens really quickly. You're ready to cast in no time at all, and you pick up extra invasion sigils, more troops, and a little bit of gold as well. Tier 2 is where you get the Potion of Explosion, which explodes 4 gems at the start of battle. So combine this with our Medal of Anu, our enchant from tier 1, and this mana you get from this. Normally you're ready to go really quickly. And you need this tier anyway, because this is where you pick up the Horusite Champion, dealing damage to an enemy, and if they're a tower, deal 3 to 5 times damage based on my ascensions, and if the enemy dies, bless all allies. Does have that Siegebreaker one at the bottom there, deal 3 to 5 times skull damage versus towers based on my ascensions, but we're not worried about that. It's the damage from the spell which is the best thing. So if you're a newer player, don't worry too much if you can't get that Siegebreaker last one, because we are not going to rely on that. But reduced damage from spells by 25% is pretty useful as well. 2 ways to get this to a mythic level. Either buy it at tier 2, back out of here, then use some Orbs of Ascension to get it to mythic level that way, Other than that, you're going to have to buy a bunch of tiers to get it. And if you're going to do that, you may as well get the bonus one at the beginning, which is now vanished because you get the bonus Orb of Ascension, Orb of Chaos rather, at the same time. So yeah, 2 ways to get that to a mythic level. Tier 3, definitely get tier 3, always good to have a weapon, and this weapon wouldn't actually be too bad for this actual event. The Blade of the Guardian. Give magic +1 attack and life to all monster allies, then bless them. So everyone's going to be cleansed with that lovely bless, which makes them effectively impervious. So really good, and a nice little boost on attack and life at the same time, which is good for obviously skulls and obviously good for life to keep your team going for longer. But it does create a dust storm if you've got it upgraded, so be wary of that. There's not too many of the monsters I'm going to use in my team that actually benefit from brown, so you're going to create a storm of a colour you don't use. But if you do use brown in your team, then obviously it's very useful indeed. So let's take a look at this team I've got thrown together here. A few different ways to go about this, but a good way to get it done quickly in the beginning is with a damage to all troop. And one of the best damage to all troop monsters in the game is Crimson Bat, because it's a true damage. So it bypasses their armor and does true damage, killing most of the team in the early stages absolutely instantly, and gains some life at the same time, making it more tanky and survivable. Literally sucks the life out of people. We can have Shoggorath backing it up with true damage. Also has the benefit of silence. Silence and deal magic +3, true damage to the first and last enemies, and explode 5 gems of the most used ally mana color. So true damage with silence and with some explode as well to pick up some mana afterwards. So pretty cool. But you can go to Crimson Bats if you want at the same time. That is another way to go about it. And we must have our Horror champion in the team to make sure we get that extra damage versus the tower. But this is only for when we've got the basic troops at the beginning. When the towers start coming along, especially when there's all towers, that's when we're going to change one of our troops around. For the weapon for this, again, various ways to go about it. I'm going with Sharp Fang, Explodey, Summoning Weapon, Explode, Magic +1, brown gems. Don't use brown, but just explode gems anyway, it's all good. Grant a random status effect to all monster allies, then summon a monster troop. It does have some okay upgrades as well if you upgrade it. Powerful, gain 4 mana. So as soon as you cast this, you're going to get 4 mana back ready to cast it again. So pretty cool. And rages itself. So up top, it's going to do extra skull damage and does 5 damage to the last enemy as well, which can be good for taking away barriers and things like that. So yeah, not too bad at all. If you don't have that one, there are various different options in the game. You can even go Wonder Stars on this. You can go Wonder Stars and just wand it. And most of the time that is going to work an absolute treat. Good old Wonder Stars, absolutely stacks of mana. Get that bless, get the curse, whatever you prefer, and you can absolutely go about it that way. You can go the normal route of damage. You could go Black Manacles. Like Black Manacles here, where is it? Where are you? There you go. Damage to all enemies with a 20% chance of a Devour. If you're going to do that, you can change the troops around. If we go to damage to all, see what options we've got. Damage to all, bingo bango. Would work well with some of these, like Behemoth. Damage to all, destroy 12 gems, getting mana back. Impervious as well, gains 10 life on 4 or 5 gem matches. Lithian Servitor, damage to all again. Steal 2 magic from all survivors. So yeah, lots of different ways to go about this, but I want to go about it like this at the beginning. The banner for this team, have I set it up here? I don't think I have. No, right, what don't I use? I use blue, green, red, purple. So I don't care about yellow and something else, but I don't care about yellow. So we'll have blue, really, didn't we? Oh, that'll do. Get the weapon charged up nice and quick is always a good way to go. Let's take a look at this. A variety of classes you can use for this. Like I'll do like a 50% mana start on the hero when we haven't got a 50% mana start to the whole team. So you can go Frost Mage, you can go Geomancer. But I do like me a bit of Geomancer. I love this reduced damage from skulls. I love this construct a 50% start on the hero. Serendipity, give a random ally a random status effect. We can, yeah, think about that. Anti-magic sphere, always good to have 20% reduced spell damage. Tactician, gain 3 magic at the start is good, rock solid. Gain a barrier when matching brown. Don't use brown, that's the only thing I don't like about this right now, but sometimes it'll just happen automatically anyway, which is good. Tree of Knowledge, gain enchantment when matching green gems, which will do, and Fortitude. Right, let's jump in there then, do a couple of battles. With that Medal of Anu, the enchantment and the explosion, things should happen pretty quickly. Right, so we can look for stuff for the weapon. There you go. I mean, the batter's up the next round anyway, so we'll cast this just to get the benefit of those status effects to our monsters, which is really cool. And we can do that true damage to all enemies and gain life and bosh them all out of there. They are cabooshed. Consider yourself cabooshed out of there. Right, let's carry on. This is going to be an easy team to go with until the towers start coming along, and then we have to basically change things up a little bit to maximise the use of our team. Can get red or blue ordinarily now if you like. There you go. That's got our Crimson Bat up. Obviously, depending upon your magic, you may have to cast that twice. If you do have to cast it twice, and you've got 2 Crimson Bats, then stick in an extra Crimson Bat in place of Shoggorath. See, we've got that brown automatically then. We didn't do anything. We just still got the brown, which is like really cool. Might as well get these just because they're there, because I'm greedy. So yeah, if you're not wiping out the enemy in a single cast with your Crimson Bat and you've got 2 of them, stick 2 of them in there, because you may as well. You're going to get that damage to all. They gain life. They're going to be enchanted. They're going to get charged up pretty quickly regardless. I mean, if you did have to charge the second one up, you wouldn't cast the first one now. You'd collect the red like that, because that would have been red on that second one there. And then you cast them back to back. Because obviously the same troop mana blocks a second one of the same troop. Do you see? Let's grab some of that. Yeah, it's just going to be very easy in the initial stages of the game. I'll jump forward a little bit to show how this works on the later levels, but it's still an absolute piece of cake with this team. Even when there's a summon, Shoggorath can actually target them and just finish them off. So really, really cool. Let's grab some stuff for our weapon. Let's cast that weapon, get those lovely status effects and the mana. This is ready to go. Bish, bash them all out of there. We can finish off with Shoggorath. Job done. Thank you very much. Of course, when there's one enemy left there, they become the first and the last enemy all at the same time. Very cool. Oh, that's a nice red match, which is probably going to get spoiled at the start of the game. And yes, it did. Have we got any blue? No. But we can get green. That's alright. We'll have a little bit of that. Mana gem, status effects. Might as well go with this. Bash them all out of there. There we go. Look at that. Lovely jubbly. Right, so 3 towers come along now. What we can do now is swap out one of these. I'm going to swap out Shoggorath for another Siege Breaker. And there's one which is particularly good for this. So let's go to Siege. I do like Sharptooth. Does damage to an enemy if they're a tower. Deal 3 to 5 times damage based on my ascensions. And there's a 30% chance for an extra turn and a 30% chance to get my mana back. So you can actually repeat this with this. You can just blast them out of there. And also has reduced damage from skulls by 30%. Obviously this is only relevant if you've got that Siege Breaker at 3rd trait. Deal 3 to 5 times skull damage based on my ascensions. We'll swap that out with them, chuck that to the top, swap that around like that. And now any skulls that come along are just going to just wreck. I mean, there are other ones that are okay as well. Taurite Priestess. Pretty good. Reduced damage from skulls by 20%. Still does that 3 to 5 times skull damage versus towers. And deals damage to the enemy again. A bit like our other Siege Breakers. And there's other choices as well. So yeah, if you haven't got that particular one, then grab one of the other ones. But I'll do like Sharptooth, that chance of that extra turn. So we can use Bat to finish off the main enemy. Or the main enemies. When the skulls come along, we're just going to wreck anyway. So, yeah, it should be still straightforward. I mean, Shoggorath does do a bit more damage than Bat. but this should still be absolutely okay. Right, didn't really need that, but I got it anyway. Let's destroy them few brown that were sitting there. We're ready to go, and here comes the damage. Like, any skulls that come along? No skulls yet. We've got one there though. Bash, you are done, mate. That's going to give a chance of an extra turn as well as kill them outright. Can soften them up with that, and well, my top troop was ready. Should have just killed them. Didn't notice. Go on, mate. Have your glory. There you go, son. There you go. So Crimson Bat is useful in this team as well if your siege breakers aren't doing a huge amount of damage, because this is going to like soften them up, which is a cool way to go about it. Right, so we're using brown now. So check your what do you call them? Your banner. I'm going to trade that top troop because I haven't actually done that yet, of course. Let's get rid of them. Let's get rid of the one who's nearest to being cast. Let's get another skull match. Skull matches is just going to wreck with this, and we can then use the actual siege breaker there, the allotted one for this event, to steal the glory from our sharp tooth at the end. And bizarrely, when all the 4 towers come along, it gets even easier because we get that non-stop extra skull damage. Like, this is going to do normal skull damage versus that top troop. But when the towers come along, it's just going to absolutely wreck through them. Let's get that thing out of the way. Let's bash that one. That's an important one to get. That's a bit like a bird one where you get the extra sigils. Blow stuff up, get stuff for the team. Any random skull hits come along are going to wreck. And we can finish with one or the other if your siege breakers. Yeah, it's going to be super straightforward. And now on to the Underspire team. I'm going to show a couple of different ways to go about this. First of all, if you're going to go a moderate way through the Underspire, this is a really straightforward team to get it done. You can go Creeping Death. Death mark the strongest and weakest enemies, then deal magic +1 damage to all enemies. So of course that death mark can come in straight away, providing the enemy's not immune. And damage to all is just going to obviously wreck everybody. Ancom can back this up, uses a different colour to the Creeping Death. This uses purple, this uses blue and brown. And again, damage to all enemies. So the combination of them two is going to be really good for a moderate powered enemy to get them wiped out in a cast or two. Dealing damage to all enemies, boosted by cursed enemies. For every cursed enemy, give a barrier to a random ally. You could have a 25% chance to curse a random enemy, but my turn begins as well if you have that third trait, which is really cool. You give everyone, 2 of these, and that effectively becomes 2 lots of 25% chance to curse the enemy, which actually makes that spell technically a little bit better, because it has a better chance to work. Horned Asp, you can use this as a backup thing and to get things done quick in the early part of the game. Start battles with 75% mana. Let's get some red or purple, and it's ready to deal magic +4 splash damage to an enemy. Cast that on the 2nd or 3rd enemy to make the most of that splash damage. And inflict bleed and poison on all enemies hit by the spell. And we can use Setite Warrior. This is actually pretty handy. Works really well with our hero. It gives magic +1 armor to an ally. This would cast that typically on the top troop to keep it alive and more tanky. Then deals scatter damage equal to the ally's armor. So basically cast that on the top troop, for example, or one that's maybe even below if they haven't been hit, because you can get more damage that way. Because remember, the scatter damage equal to the ally's armor. So it is good to cast on the top troop to keep them alive, especially when they're powerful like this one. But don't feel bad about casting on the next troop down, say, or one that's got the highest armor, if it means the combined damage is going to wipe out the enemy, because that is a good thing to do. And it also recovers 1 armor at the start of each turn. There are options on this. I'm going to go in the banner for this. I'm going to show quickly. +2 purple, +1 blue, -1. No, that's wrong. So I changed it. I had a change of mind halfway through. We need -yellow. That'll do. As long as we've got +2 purple, and that's the colour we use the most. Brown's not bad, but use red, -yellow. All good. Happy with that. Geomancer. I love a bit of Geomancer. Reduce damage from skulls by 50%. All constructs start with 50% mana. That's the hero. Impact is good when you're up top. Don't mind a bit of that. Inflict stun when enemies deal skull damage. Or you can have serendipity. Player's choice. I don't think any of these are relevant. Anti-magic sphere is good. Tactician is good. Rock solid is excellent. Tree of knowledge is good as well, but we'll have stone mastery. Why not? And a bit of fortitude. Fantastic stuff. Right, but we can have that. Actually, I'm going to change that. I've changed my mind. I've decided to have a good old bit of tree of knowledge. So we all get green for our Setite warrior. So yeah, and that'll give us enchant at the same time. Options for this are varied. There's different ways you can go about it. You can, obviously with this is a skull based set of troops basically. You can go skull based. If you're going to do that, you want to go into a class which is basically going to give you entangling right off the offset. Something like archer class would be great for this. If you're going to go a skull based team for this, then pick something like this. Really good. Starts battles with 50% mana, 15% chance for skull damage to be lethal. And you can start with Root Trap, entangling the first enemy at the start of battle. And a good way to go about this, if you've got the troops, would be anything that basically creates tons of skulls, like Keeper of Souls areas. Transform all the gems of a chosen colour to skulls. Really, really good for this. You can have that. You could have Skeleton. Really, really cool. Create 7 skulls, gain armour and an extra turn. So if those 7 skulls don't match, then you can use the extra turn to make it so. Works really, really well with Keeper of Souls, because you can choose the transform all gems of a chosen colour to skulls, make sure they're an extra turn, and then there's going to be generally a lot of skulls left over where you can cast Skeleton with that extra turn to make even more skulls and more damage to the enemy, which is really good. You can even go Keeper of Souls. You could go Pharaoh Kafrus if you've got them, 2 of them. That's going to just explode 2 random gems when my turn begins. You can even do that with this team if you wanted to. You could get rid of these bottom 2 and just go with 2 times Pharaoh Kafru in there. Just go Creeping Death, Ankum, 2 times Pharaoh Kafru. That is going to be good. You're going to charge the team up really, really fast. And when you get to cast Kafru, you can actually convert convert all gems of a chosen colour to cursed gems, which is brown. That really, really helps Ankum's spell out, and because it's brown as well, we'll charge it up really quick to cast again. So a good alternative for this would be to swap out these 2 troops, Horndas and Setite Warrior, for 2 times Pharaoh Kafru if you have them. But I'm going to roll with this. Let's see how this does. Got 1 times Arnu on, 2 times Nisha for this right now. Got some purple. That'll get charged up straight away with a mana surge, and we're just going to wipe out the enemy in a single kaboosh. Look at that. Damage to all. See your ugly lot later. They are an ugly lot. There's no getting away from it. It's an undeniable fact. Let's get our free lantern from Matey Boy Gem Hat. And be on our way. No, I do not want to purchase your wares. I want to take them for free. Free is the best price. Don't you know? Ooh, we've got a nice bunch of red there. So this is the cool thing about Horndas. It gets charged up so quickly. Make sure you cast on the 2nd or 3rd troop down to make sure you get that lovely splash damage. Should look for purple then, really. But we can get blue. Ah, we got purple up top. Look. Bingo, bango. And you're a mango. Probably isn't. But it's not going to do a tango, is it? That would have been more amusing, actually. Have it do a tango. On a mango. Bingo, bango. Oh dear. Right, let's do that. And do that. So yeah, going to be super duper mega crazy easy in the early stages, even without using 2 times Kafrus to get the teams charged up. Or team charged up. Teams would be a bit unfair, wouldn't it? It's not like this one's not doing the job. Let's grab that from the top. If we get a mana splurge, we're ready to go. But that was a backup one down the bottom there. That's why you always take stuff from the top to the bottom when you want to control the board. Not the other way around. Because you take things from the bottom, you can mess up the stuff up the top. And you don't want to mess stuff up. You want to keep it in your favour. Come on, Venoxy, you smelly oaf. Why do I call Venoxy a smelly oaf? And the reason is it's noxious gas, not noxious breath. So it's not coming out of its gob, it's coming out of its back end, which means it stinks, and that is a nasty, horrible way to die. Yes, by being gassed by its I'm not even thinking about it. It's too grim. But yeah, as you can see, this team is going to rip through the early stages of Underspire. Let's make this the last one, and like I say, you can change the last 2 troops if you want for a couple of Cathroos. If you got them, you can chuck in Keeper of Souls instead of Ankum and go a couple of Cathroos and generate loads of skulls that way. You can use a skeleton to back things up and use one. There's lots of different ways to go about it, but this is going to be very straightforward for a lot of people. But I might even switch this eventually to I've only got one thing now, so that'll have to be it. I may actually switch this to 2 Cathroos for myself with Creeping Death and Ankum, and that'd be a cool way to go. But there's the videos. If you enjoyed it, it'd be really cool if you bashed that like and subscribe button. It really does help. But most of all, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.